Right, let me ask you this. Would you rather win the Premier League or the Europa League?
I would rather win the Europa League. Because
Then the Premier League.
I got it already. Give me something that I don't got. What's wrong with you lot? Do you have a Europa League title? No. Do you have a...
Standards is a word so often used by all of us in the fan channel community space. Everybody's perceived to have different standards, different views on what constitutes a good or a bad fan, good or bad standards. Does it help your club or not? And I wanted to use this here from the 12th man, big up to Dan Potts and his channel. And I wanted to go in depth a little more. I wanted to get your views and opinions. We're going to listen to the whole clip in its entirety. But I want to speak about the standards within the game. Are we at risk of killing it by applying too high standards? Or is it reversed? Is the over-celebrating of moments? For instance, yesterday, we saw the Irish go into pandemonium with the last-minute goal from Troy Parrott. The players, the coaching staff, we saw the supporters in the stadium lose their minds. The online communities were going crazy. Non-Irish fans were absolutely loving every second of it. But it didn't win them the World Cup. It didn't get them into the final of the World Cup. It didn't even directly qualify them for the World Cup. They just moved into the playoffs, which, yes, 2 games ago was seen as nigh on impossible. What does Standards FC say? Most people that follow Standards FC believe that you shouldn't be celebrating that because essentially, if you go out in the playoffs or if you get to the World Cup and go out in the group stages, if you go out in the quarterfinals, if you go out in the semifinals, if you get to the final and lose it, then that moment meant nothing. Do you agree? Do you disagree? But let's take a little look here to this. We'll get back to that in a moment, but let's take a look here at this clip.
I'll ask you this. Would you rather win the Premier League or the Europa League?
I would rather win the Europa League. Because
Then the Premier League.
I got it already. Give me something that I don't got.
I don't get that logic. You want something you don't have, even though it's a smaller trophy than the Premier League. It's a bit like a boxer saying, right, you can fight for the WBO World Championship, the WBC World Championship, the IBF World Championship. And he says, no, I've been a world champion before. I've never won the British title. Let me go and win the British title because I've never won it before. That makes sense to me.
What's wrong with you lot? Do you have a Europa League title? No. Do you have a Premier League title? Yes. Give me the Europa League. At least I got something in Europe.
You're the only fan. You're the only Arsenal fan in the world.
Talking about standards, but what you really
Where are your standards?
Where
are your standards? Bro, this is not Pokemon. We don't gotta catch them all. Like, what are we doing? Get the best trophy possible. The Premier League and the Champions League are here. The Europa League, Conference League. And then everything else everything else below that.
Yeah, Yardman. I'd rather win the Premier League, bro. Surely you'd rather win the Premier League.
Of course, everyone would. Every single Arsenal fan in the world.
What I'm saying to you, listen to what I'm saying. I see 3 Premier League titles in the cabinet. Yeah, I've got no Europa League title. Don't tell me for the new millennium. I have none. And if you're saying to me right now, I would rather take the European League because I don't have it.
Where this makes no sense, and listen, respect to Yardman, the invitation is open to get you on and talk. And everything I'm about to say and everything I would say to you face to face is not about you as a person. I suppose there's an element that's on your person. It's how you as a person view football. But it makes no sense on any level. Because at the moment, the top 5 teams in England are on course to qualify for the Champions League, which means to even be in the Europa League because you haven't won it means you'd have to be maybe the 5th best, if not the 6th best team in England. And there is no way that Yardman, if Arsenal start dropping points, and this is my challenge, if Arsenal start dropping points and end up finishing in 5th, there's no way Yardman is going to celebrate that and go, well, actually, this is really good, guys, because now we have a chance of winning the Europa League and we've never won it before. I don't believe it would be, got to get the manager out. This is the disgrace. We shouldn't be this bad. So to even qualify for the Europa League, you're not one of the best teams in England. You're not one of the best teams in Europe by and large. And surely everybody strives to be there. And this is interesting because Yardman's also an individual that has spoken about how he won't celebrate wins unless it's winning a trophy. We saw it very famously after the West Ham game. And of course, I agreed with a part of what he said, that Arsenal fans shouldn't be running around with their shirts off, arranging parades, having week-long parties, but you can celebrate the moment. And that's because he's set a standard in his mind. He has a view in his mind that just scoring goals, just winning games that are league matches or early rounds in cup competitions shouldn't be celebrated too much until you win that trophy. And that's a fair, I don't agree with it, but it's fair logic if you see it through to its conclusion. It's fair logic if you maintain that, if you get a new manager and you like that new manager. And we'll get onto the manager in a moment. But for me, when I see that, where it doesn't compute with the Europa League element is, like I've said, to get into the Europa League, Arsenal have got to regress. Arsenal have got to become a worse team than they are now. And that goes against everything he said. He won't even celebrate normal wins and progression until you win the trophy. But now he's saying that he would rather regress to go into a competition they've never won to win it because he already has Premier League trophies. It seems like a paradox. It seems like an oxymoronic paradox where whatever the outcome, and this is where it comes back to the manager, whichever the outcome, he gets to attack Arteta. And I see a lot of that when it comes to Standards FC at everybody's clubs. Man United fans do it. It's what can I say? So I can, if they don't want Amram in the job, rightly or wrongly, doesn't really matter which. How can I structure my argument so that no matter the outcome, I can have a go at Amram? How can I structure my outcome no matter what Arteta does? I can kick the can down the road and not give him credit. And this is what I mean by it. And we'll use this example. If Arteta wins the Premier League and doesn't win the Champions League, it can be kicked down the road as, but we've got loads of Premier Leagues. We've won this 3 times before. We've got, I think it would be 14 league titles Arsenal would have. So Arsenal fans like Yardman can say, but we've got this 14, 1 in 14. We want trophies we've never won before. It feels like a bit of a constructed argument to not have to turn around and say, I was wrong. This is an elite level manager. He's won one of the hardest competitions in the world to win, which is the toughest league in the world to win, which is the Premier League. And he's done it. He's proven me wrong. And I've seen a lot of the Arteta outers do this, a lot of Standard FC for years, not just say we won't win it this season. There's an overarching fact that comes with it, which is this manager will never be good enough to get us over the line. And I think what's going through a lot of their minds right now is my personal opinion might be wrong. I've got to create a new argument. That's just my view on it personally. So not wanting to give the manager credit, it's crazy to me. And that's what a lot of this boils down to me. That's my personal opinion. The standard in itself is crazy. You should want to win the best trophies possible every year. Again, the logic dictates that you should ask the club to not let you compete in the FA Cup and enter you into the Vans Trophy because Arsenal have never won it. Okay, what if you win the Premier League this season? Do you ask the Premier League to relegate you to the Championship because you haven't won it in decades? If you win the Champions League this year, do you say to UEFA, thank you, but we don't want to defend our trophy and win it twice? What we want to do is go to the Europa League because we haven't won it. I look at that and I do say, for all the standards that Arteta outers and Standard FC push, it feels backwards. Just like when you hear managers dislike, do things the elite managers do. So it might be a behavioral element. It might be a coaching element. It might be an internal structure element. Why is he doing that? Well, Pep does it and Fergie did it and Ancelotti does it. Yeah, but they're winners. Yes, and most people that want to become winners mimic large parts of the lifestyles or the professional approach that the successful people do. It's kind of strange. You know, if you look at all the most successful football YouTubers and you want to be one, you can create something that's innovative and new. But in terms of your work rate, your ethic, your presenting ability, you got to at least mimic an element of it, learn from it, copy it, because that's what works. You know, so I look at it this way. I think that for me, this is kicking the can down the road. I'd love to get your thoughts and opinions.
I still can't hold my chest up high. Hold on,
I hear that. For the new millennium. But you said yourself, when Nottingham Forest come up to Arsenal and they singing, when the fuck did you think they won the fucking European Cup? Old millennium. So it don't matter. So don't switch.
We have the Europa League.
Don't switch it.
One second.
Nottingham Forest won in the 80s or 70s, whatever the fuck it was. That was the old. We even won a trophy after that. Yeah, but they still sing it. So you can't say, "Oh, the old millennium" now because it suits your narrative.
One second. Doesn't the Cup Winners' Cup classify under the same?
Yeah, I will get you in, Jez. It's just everyone's talking over.
Dan,
Quickly, you go, and then Jez comes in.
Doesn't the Cup Winners' Cup qualify as the same level as the Europa League?
What does? Sorry, say that again quickly.
It does.
If I'm not mistaken, the Cup Winners' Cup was the level below the European trophy originally.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was
technically, is that
the old.
So the Cup Winners' Cup was the second tier European trophy. The UEFA Cup, which is now the Europa League, was the third tier. The reason you know this is because one, if you had a team that came second and qualified for the Europa League, the UEFA Cup as it was, but they also won their FA Cup, they always opted to be in the Cup Winners' Cup. What was also historic, and you need to research this, historically provable, is that multiple leagues, multiple nations didn't even have a domestic trophy. They invented one so they could put their clubs into the Cup Winners' Cup. So yes, Arsenal did have won the second tier trophy before in the Cup Winners' Cup. That's 100% true there by Egal.
Is that not the same level?
Not the new millennium. Come on, man. Come on. Eagle, have you ever heard any club singing about we win the Cup Winners' Cup? Fuck off.
Bro, I
don't see this. This is the thing for me, though. This is what I'm going to push back on. I know we all want to see our clubs win today. All of us do. But you can't disregard the history. Because if we're going to disregard this is another thing Standards FC do. If you're going to disregard the history, what's the point of winning now? Just for in 30 years' time, another Yardman or another Dan or another Jez or another Egal, just to go, I don't care about those trophies that you won. We need it today. At the end of the day, one thing that hasn't changed about football is that you are trying to get to a consistent level to be able to compete for the biggest trophies and try and win them every year. That element of what Standards FC say, I agree with. Of course, you're trying to get to that point. But I just don't. I've always looked at it this way. I don't just want to pick up a League Cup there and an FA Cup there. I want to be a team that is consistently in the conversation for winning the biggest trophies. And if Arsenal are consistently challenging to win the Premier League, they're not even going to be in the Europa League. Again, as I said before, to be in the Europa League, you've got to be somewhere between the 5th and 6th best team in England. How does that compute with Standards FC saying you need to be trying to win all the trophies all of the time? Because if you're winning some of the bigger ones, which you also want to win, you can't compete for the Europa League. For me, it's crazy. And it brings us back to an earlier point around Standards FC. And this is the other element I push back against when it comes to their view of football, is not every nation, not every football club is the same thing. We have to drop this monolithic approach. It doesn't work unilaterally. For instance, a Brighton finishing in and around mid-table in the Premier League, considering where they were 25 years ago, the size of their club, the income of their club, the wealth of their ownership, is a fantastic and huge achievement that should be celebrated and praised. That doesn't mean a Liverpool, who have a fan base, their UK fan base, okay, is probably 3 times bigger, 4 times bigger, 5 times bigger than Brighton's. Their local fan base is potentially bigger than Brighton's global fan base, is what I meant to say. The amount of people just in Liverpool, in that surrounding area, that support them. Because I've been down to Brighton. Of course, there's Brighton fans, but you go down to Brighton, I know you get the tourist element, but there are shirts of all different clubs down there, right? So I wouldn't have the same expectations on a Liverpool as I would a Brighton. The same as I don't have the same expectations on an island as I do in England or a Brazil or a Portugal, because there are levels to this, and I mean that with the absolute utmost respect. You also, the one thing Standards FC do that annoys me is they remove the game state, which I understand wanting a Europa League 2 or 3 years ago for Arsenal when they were at that level, when the back end of Wenger, when they were at that Europa League level, the Emery season, you want it. But they're no longer at that level, they're above it. It's like wanting your team to win the championship when you're competing for the Premier League title. It doesn't make sense to me. But look, I could be wrong. I could be off here. I'd love to get your views and opinions on this in the comment section below. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.